I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
Hey there guys, what's up? It's your girl Kelly. We're back with another video. And if you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button if you are into true crime stories, news, politics, so much more. I would appreciate it if you would join, and if you're a returning listener or subscriber, thank you guys as always for being a friend. I really appreciate y'all, and thank you to everyone who's watching this video right now. And I just want to come on here and talk to you guys about this secondhand embarrassment that I feel watching this FANI WILLIS self-implode all over my television screen today. It was a disaster, okay? It was an absolute unmitigated disaster. This case, this RICO case against Donald Trump that was brought by the Fulton County DA is actually just the epitome of a shit show. It is the epitome of a, Trump derangement syndrome in full effect, okay? We are seeing it on full display. And so there's been a lot that has been going on with this case. If you guys haven't caught up with it, I don't really blame you. But today, there was some explosive testimony, guys. They had these two lovers on the stand to testify about their alleged corruption and their inappropriate relationship in regards to this case. And let me just tell you guys, I wouldn't want to be FANI Fupa Willis, okay, on this day, because my God, what a ghetto piece of trash she made herself look like. And if she doesn't get disqualified from this case, and really, I will go so far as to say that I feel that the case should be thrown out. I don't think the case should have ever been brought, in my opinion, but that's me personally. I do have my own biases. I've always been not afraid to admit that. But I think in this case, my biases really have nothing to do with it, because I don't believe that Trump should have been charged in any case whatsoever. I think that we have plenty of corrupt politicians, and we're looking at one right here, FANI WILLIS. She's a corrupt hoe, okay? And she absolutely self-destructed on the stand today. So we're going to get into some of her finest moments and talk about the case a little bit, and then I want to know what your guys' thoughts are, and then we'll get on out of here. So let's get into it, y'all. I want to start with this clip from the Young Turks, Anna Kasparian. I like to keep my news consumption fair. I like to keep my news consumption balanced. And really, if you want to know the truth, I watch mainly leftist or left-leaning news sources for the most part, because I like to see what the other side, the side that I don't align with, is saying, and I like to hear their perspective, hear their point of view, and make my own determination. And I normally, determine that they're all full of shit. But, there are some fair left-leaning people that I do watch. And Anna Kasparian, she can be a little unhinged at times. She's gotten a lot better in recent years, but I'm going to let her break it down, and then we'll look at some of the clips. And this is just in regards to kind of how we got here. So how it started versus how it's going vibes. So let's get into it.
I watched her testimony. I watched everyone's testimony, and it, in my opinion, does not look good for FANI WILLIS, despite what you might see online with the partisan brain rot. I'm just keeping it real. You have a lot of people on the left, broadly speaking, who think, no, this is totally fine. Why do we care about her personal life? I don't care about her personal life. No one should care about her personal life unless her personal life ends up melding into this incredibly important election interference case out of the state of Georgia. Now, with that said, before we get to more details about the court hearing today, I think it is worth going back to discuss the background of why we got to this point in the first place. So Trump co-defendant Michael Roman, who's a former Trump campaign staffer and a one-time White House aide, alleged that FANI Willis and Nathan Wade, so the lead attorney that she hired for this, had been involved in an improper romantic relationship that began before Nathan Wade, before he had been hired by FANI Willis. And that's an important allegation to keep in mind, because there was...
And I just want to say, I don't really think it's all that important, okay? I'm sorry, but does it really make a difference in regards to when their relationship began? Because if she hired him and then they started boinking after he was hired, to me that's just as bad, and he should have then recused himself, because you can't be doing what it is that they're accused of doing and trying to prosecute on some bullshit trumped up RICO charge the president of the United States, Donald Trump, and then just like do all of the shady, corrupt dealings that these two were doing. I mean, the shenanigans that are being alleged here are just utterly ridiculous and silly at this point. But despite that, it reeks of corruption. It reeks of, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. It reeks of pay to play. It reeks of FANI Willis seemingly paying for some dick, okay? So I'm gonna let you finish, Anna. Go right ahead.
Conflicting testimony today. The motion says that Willis paid Wade large sums for his work that then benefited her personally when he paid for vacations that they both went on, during their romantic relationship. They both claim that they're no longer in a romantic relationship, that relationship ended in the summer of 2023. Oh, okay. So before I get to today's testimony, Cenk, do you want to jump in with some thoughts?
Yeah, first I'm gonna quote somebody from YouTube Super Chat here. William G, Atheist #1, wrote in, they were close friends long before the intimacy started, after they spent long hours in the office on the case. This stuff happens all the time. I think it's beautiful. Okay, so brother, I think that you got the issue reversed. First of all, I like your title though. Okay, but
whatever.
A lot of the crux of today was, did the relationship start earlier or after he was already hired? Because if it's after he's already hired, yeah, there's some issues about office relationships, etc. But I wouldn't sweat that. I get it. People are human beings. It's not that big a deal. And you could argue with that because she's kind of technically his boss, but he's a contractor. It gets complicated, right? But
he's also married.
If they were going out before, then she hires him and funnels a giant amount of taxpayer money to him.
Yeah.
And then he uses some of that on her. No, that's not kosher. That's not beautiful. I don't mind their relationship. Their relationship can be beautiful. I mean, it's not my business. You know me, I'm progressive. I don't give a damn at all, right? But I care if it abuses the public trust. But I also want to say to the Republicans, what does this have to do with Donald Trump? Like, if you want to go ha ha to FANI Willis, okay, fine, go ha ha, right?
And I will.
But I think a lot of them genuinely believe that means that Trump is innocent.
No, it doesn't. What they're hoping for.
Well, let me explain it to you two retards. The reason why we're going ha ha and we'll continue to go ha ha is because the case should have never even been brought. Okay, it's bullshit case. You people might think that it has merit. I disagree. A lot of people disagree. Okay, we're very divided on this issue apparently. And that's fine, but regardless, you can't just throw your hands up and, oh, why Republicans fucking care about? You know what? Because it's bullshit, that's why. No other prosecutor would have brought this case, but this dirty, crooked, corrupt hoe. And I'm so sorry, but like, somebody was on Megyn Kelly's show the other day, basically saying that, like, okay, if this is the case, that people think like, oh, this changes nothing against Trump, like the case is still good, the case should still go on. Well, then he offered up a solution that I think it's pretty decent.
I actually think that not only will FANI get disqualified and Nathan Wade get disqualified, this Fulton County judge, I actually think the case has to be dismissed, and then a new prosecutor can decide whether he or she wants to refile this case, because this case has been unethically tainted, illegally tainted since before its inception, right? If these allegations are true, it's actually true. I mean, she's admitted that their relationship started before she brought this indictment, right? So she may have hired him. She could be lying about when it started. She could have had this relationship going back to 2020. And if that's the case, both FANI and Nathan Wade are going to face perjury allegations and maybe even prison time. They should go to prison if they lied, because they made misrepresentations to the court in response to Mike Roman's motion to dismiss. Look, if these allegations are true, I think this case has to be dismissed. And then you bring in a new prosecutor, whether it's the state attorney general, Chris Carr, maybe it gets assigned to another prosecutor elsewhere in the state, and then they're going to have to make the independent judgment, free from this financial conflict of interest that Fani Willis is making money off of this prosecution of President Trump and 18 co-defendants based upon a bogus, novel RICO conspiracy theory against political opponents. A new prosecutor is going to have to come in and have independent judgment whether they're going to bring recharge President Trump and these 18 co-defendants. But I absolutely think this case needs to be kicked.
And I think it would be something to definitely consider. So, yeah, in order to have some sort of compromise with the whole situation, I feel like it has to be scrapped, and they need to like have someone else come in and look at all of this and decide where to go from there, because it's bullshit.
Your Honor, Mr. Dorn, very briefly, Ms. Willis needs to testify. Her best friend or good friend has directly contradicted the declaration that was made by Mr. Wade attached to the government's response. And it wasn't just the declaration of Mr. Wade, it was filed by the district attorney by and through her assistants here. She owns that. And so that affidavit is owned by her, and there are deep concerns that that affidavit is false, and that Ms. Willis knew it was false, and that she needs to come in here if she wants to tell us about the cash. First time we've heard about the cash, oh yeah, we got cash. Don't have any deposit slips, don't have any record of it. Maybe Ms. Willis can say, here, all my records where I paid $10,000 in cash back to Mr. Wade. We need to know that. Also, Ms. Willis's financial disclosure. Let's not forget that. We're talking about two people who went to extraordinary lengths to hide their relationship, to hide the nature of their relationship. Extraordinary. The district attorney needs to take the stand, and she needs to tell this court and this courtroom why she filed financial disclosures in 2022 identifying prohibited sources, which Mr. Wade clearly is a prohibited source. Did you get gifts and benefits? We need to have the full picture, as we've gotten through Mr. Wade, of his false interrogatory. Serious business for a lawyer or anybody. And then suddenly he's changing.
Girl, hello?
Her financial declaration.
Excuse me, what?
Same problem. We need to go over all of this and to explain exactly what happened.
Ma'am?
So we would ask the court.
Not you marched up into the courtroom looking like a stuffed sausage with your fupa out. Ma'am, what are you coming up in here like that for? Okay.
That the court allow Ms. Willis to be called and interrogated on these matters.
And I would too, Your Honor.
Just a moment, Ms. Willis.
Bitch, you need to sit down.
So, Ms. Cross, I don't know if you want to speak with Ms. Willis.
I mean,
outside,
who does she think she is? She can just come up past the lawyer's desk. I get it. She's the DA. But like, bitch, what do you do? You about to storm up to the judge's table to try to like prove a point? Like, girl, what are you doing coming up here like this? This is really crazy.
They're withdrawing
I believe I'm
the objection to the motion?
I believe the motion to
Or does Ms. Willis want to take the lead here?
girl.
I draw the motion to quash Ms. Willis based on the. I'm ready to go.
Okay, so the position of the district attorney at this point is that she's no longer contesting the subpoena. Ms. Merchant has called her as the next witness.
Oh my God. Girl, what did you wear that
I
dress
would
for?
ask,
I mean, what the hell is this?
I need 3 documents in front of me, and they're the 3 filings of Ms. Merchant. 3 filings.
Girl, I know you did not just come up in here making demands. What is this suit?
Love your suit.
Is this the best you could do today? This is probably the most important day of her damn life. And she puts on the ugliest, most ill-fitting dress and her best fupa and her most disheveled looking hair to come up on this witness stand to try to yell at everyone in the courtroom. Not a good look, Fanny. Not very great. And making demands. Girl, who do you think you are? And then go claim
Then we'll have the
victimhood.
3 filings of Ms. Merchant.
Girl, you better shut the fuck up.
Filings
Ooh,
of
shut up.
Ms.
Making demands.
You mean like the pleadings?
The pleadings, yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
my
I think we
God.
could locate those for you in the supplemental.
Absolutely not. You're the one that came barging up in here unannounced, bitch. What the fuck? And then okay.
I want the one filed on January the 8th.
Excuse
the
me,
one
what?
filed immediately after we filed ours.
Uh-huh.
And the final one.
Sure, Jan.
Please.
If you want to take a break to get them, I can make a copy. I think
Yeah.
we have one.
You know, the only copy I have is going to have my notes on it. So if we don't have a clean copy,
Have a 5-minute break during.
Let's
I'll get
take
the documents.
all right.
Yeah, you came in like a wrecking ball, ma'am.
Ms. Cross.
So that's how Fanny came in, okay? Like a disastrous wrecking ball. So let's look at just a few of these clips. So we're going to start off with this one, and then I'm going to show you guys a little bit of Nathan Wade's testimony, which I didn't actually watch the full portion of. I watched all of Fannie Willis's, but you know, I didn't catch his, but I did see the highlight reels. So we'll get to him eventually. Him and his peanut head looking like a damn raisinette with his bald-headed ass. But let's see her explanation for why she came into the courtroom out of breath, disheveled, and just utterly pressed, distressed, and looking stressed. So let's hear her explanation for that.
And I've been very anxious to have this conversation with you today. So I ran to the courtroom.
We can tell.
So as soon as
You need
heard
to
that
run
Mr.
more
Wade was done
places.
testifying, that's when you just assumed you would be the next witness.
It only makes sense.
Did you listen to any of the testimony?
I've been in my office pacing, ma'am.
Did you listen to any of the arguments?
I did hear the arguments this morning. It's ridiculous to me that you lied on Monday, and yet here we still are. And I did listen to that argument.
All right, so that was it, just the argument, no testimony.
Right, I listened to the argument this morning where Adam Abadi, I thought, did an excellent job pointing out how dishonest you were with the court on Monday. And I'm actually surprised that the hearing continued. But since it did, here I am.
Great. So let's just talk about what you did in preparation for today. Did you meet with Mr. Wade at all? Once the motion was filed, did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you?
On January, this first January motion?
Yes.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest within this motion.
Are you about to cry?
So I don't know that it was a conversation. As you know, Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman. Me, not so much.
Okay, but
Is
my
he?
question was, did you have a conversation with
I didn't
him?
have a substantive conversation.
You did not.
I read this motion, skimmed it more so, and I probably said some choice things to him about
Well, do tell.
some of the lies they were told.
Okay.
And then printed in the media because, you know, we used to be in a day and time where you had 60 Minutes and people did stories and
Girl,
they
60
verified
Minutes?
information.
What the fuck are you
and
talking
had
about?
this great reporting. But it seems today
What are
that
you talking
a
about,
lawyer writes a
ma'am?
lie, and then it's printed for all of the world to see.
I know not.
Well, I just want to make sure that you answer the question.
So you're mad about people not doing your bidding and your propaganda work? Okay. Weird. Very weird, bitch. What are you talking about? Okay.
I asked. So my question was,
Overruled, Mr. Abadi.
I told you what happened. I read the motion. I am sure I told him what my opinion of it is.
I have a question. Why do you look like Snoopy? Why do you literally look the way that you do? I don't know. It's a mystery. So, all right, let's look at some of Nathan Wade's.
As of May the 30th, 2023, you had had sexual relations with Miss Willis. Isn't that correct?
The interrogatory, sir, asks during the course of the marriage and the period of separation.
Excuse me.
My response,
Your Honor, I would ask that the court direct the witness to answer my question, yes or no. As of May the 30th, 2023, had you had sexual relations with Miss Willis? Yes or no?
Mr. Gillen, let's start with at the higher level whether he believes he answered it truthfully, and then we can drill down into why or why not he doesn't, and maybe we'll end up exactly where you left us.
Well.
And I just want to say, this was such a infuriating and bizarre court proceeding to watch live or otherwise, because the way that it was set up was that, like, these two people were not on trial. It's an evidentiary hearing. So for those not familiar, or even, myself, like, I'm not 100% familiar with what exactly the decorum and the procedures are for an evidentiary hearing per se. But from what I understand, it's basically a probative sort of testimony from both parties in order to determine whether or not the motions that were filed in regards to this case can continue and whether or not they have any substantive value. So basically, the motion to disqualify the prosecutor, who's FANI Willis, as well as the special prosecutor who she appointed, Nathan Wade, it should be, is what's being probed in this evidentiary hearing. And the reason for that is because they had an inappropriate and seemingly corrupt relationship with one another, and they're using taxpayer dollars to apparently go on lavish trips that he is paying for with the money used that he was hired by FANI Willis to do this prosecution, when he should have never even been hired in the first damn place. Okay? Like, it's just ridiculous to me that this woman who put herself in this situation, by the way, okay, she absolutely did. She could have appointed anybody as a special counsel in this case. She knew what this case meant to her and her little other lefties, her Trump derangement syndrome cronies, all the other people who just are chomping at the bit to try to, like, see something happen against Trump. Okay, she knew what it meant to all of them, and yet she still couldn't help herself to appoint this raisinette as the special counsel and forego any possibility of the appearance of impropriety. I mean, she did this to herself, and yet here he sits, and here she sits, trying to, like, confuse, trying to deflect, trying to make something seem as if it wasn't the way that it seems, when in reality it should have never even been a situation. So this is what they're all here for. And so the judge kind of allowed things to go off the rail, I felt, way too much. But in that regard, I like I said, I don't really know what the procedures are for this, because they're not on trial, in this courtroom. So I think that in because of that, and because of their specifically her title, and I guess partially because of his, he allowed, I feel, them as witnesses to get away with way too much, and to not answer questions in the manner that I feel like people who watch court proceedings are used to hearing them being answered. Whereas, they would normally be a lot more objections, a lot more getting the witness back on task, not allowing the witness to filibuster, not allowing the witness to answer in a subversive manner. None of that really happened. It was very much like he let the reins go and let these two just kind of do whatever. There were a few times where he stepped in, but It made it a bit infuriating and hard to watch, but you know, so that was kind of frustrating, but at the same time, by doing that, I feel like gave them just enough rope to hang themselves, and it didn't take much rope. Okay, I'll tell you that much.
Again, Your Honor, the point of it is that the words matter, and that we have to establish what did and did not happen, and then he can give whatever explanation he chooses to what apparently is a false answer. But I would like an answer to my question.
And you may get one. I would like us to start at a high level before we drill down into specifics to see whether he actually contradicted that interrogatory, if I'm making sense.
Well,
You're not.
the interrogatory is relatively direct and explicit. Sexual relationships with a person other than your spouse during the course of the marriage, including the period of separation. That's pretty simple.
Sure. Let's see if that's something you can get him to admit.
You did have sexual relationships with someone other than your spouse during the course of the marriage and during the period of separation, which included up to May the 30th of 2023. Isn't that correct, sir?
My answer to this interrogatory is none, is no.
So you're saying that you did not have sexual relationships with anyone outside of your marriage, and the period of separation is during the period, then you're answering the question to this interrogatory, correct, sir?
I'm saying during the course of my marriage, I did not have sexual relations to anyone, and this answer is no.
Well, again, Your Honor,
I understand. You can proceed, Mr. Gill.
We need a yes or no. Let's just get down to it. Did you or did you not, by May the 30th, 2023, have had sexual relations with Miss Willis, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what you did is you answered no to that question, didn't you, or none, correct?
I didn't answer no to the question you just asked. I answered no to the interrogatory question.
And the interrogatory stands that you answered as a pleading in a civil proceeding, your divorce case, right?
Yes.
Now, excuse me. The next interrogatory, let's move there. That interrogatory states as follows: identify any and all occasions in which you entertain a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse who is not related to you by blood or marriage. You see that?
I do.
Now, there are two parts to this. The second part is, I read on, or in which a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse, not related to you by blood or marriage, entertained you. And then it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining, drinking, in restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels. You see that, correct?
I do.
Now, as of May the 30th, 2023, when you filed this interrogatory, you had in fact entertained Miss Willis on many occasions, had you not?
Again, during the course of the marriage was irretrievably broken in 2015.
Well,
the answer's still no.
Let's read what the interrogatory says about the time period required to answer the interrogatory. Because what it says is, it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining and or drinking at any restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels, or persons' homes from the date of marriage to the present. You understand what the word present means?
I do.
And present means the filing on May the 30th, 2023.
Right now.
Isn't that right?
It is.
So as of May the 30th, 2023, you had done a lot of entertaining of Miss Willis, had you not?
I had done some, yes.
And in fact,
Hello?
under your testimony,
Only some.
you would have said that she had also entertained you. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And so your answer to this interrogatory is false, is it not, sir?
No, it's not false.
Girl.
Well, hate to dance around the...
Can you go to hell?
The answer is yes, you did entertain Miss Willis, correct? Right?
Yes.
She's not your spouse at that time or at any time, correct?
That's correct.
She's not related to you by blood or marriage, correct?
That's correct.
But you entertained her, right?
Yes.
And
he entertained
during the
her,
course
all right.
from your marriage, the period of time up to the
fucking
present.
entertained
So the
her.
answer would have been, yes, I did entertain somebody.
Okay, wow, painful. Painful stuff there, guys. This is basically what the entire testimony, and Fanny testified for 4 hours. It was just painful. Just dancing all around the subjects. You would think if you hadn't done anything wrong, you would have concise answers, very quick and to the point, but there was just nothing but evasive, elusive testimony, word salad, and confusing answers. It was just a hot ass mess. Okay, so here's a little bit more of Nathan Wade.
Question?
There was no tattoo parlor in Belize, man.
The charges, there's a tattoo parlor on the charges. I'm not getting into what it was for. I'm just asking if everything that's on that card related to Belize, she paid you back for.
She paid for it, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Who's laughing like that?
Let's talk about California in May 2023.
Who's laughing?
You all went to California together.
Yes.
And you booked plane tickets.
Yes.
And her name was on those plane tickets.
They were.
And so I know you said that you were worried about security and things like that, but that was in her name. When she traveled, she had to use her name.
Oh, so the plane tickets, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you paid for those plane tickets and you paid for a hotel.
So again, the card, yes.
You used your credit card, and I'm not asking about after what happened. I'm asking, did you use your credit card to book your flight and hotel to California?
I did.
And there's a lot of Ubers on there as well for California. Did you pay for those Ubers as well?
Yes.
We
were in Napa.
And you're saying that Miss Willis,
Oh,
are you
really?
saying that Miss Willis paid you back for that?
Yes.
Did she pay for the entire trip or did she pay for her half of the trip?
The Napa trip, she paid for the excursions. So the
How cute.
expenses sort of balanced out. I mean,
Did
there
they,
was
though?
never, let me be clear, there was never a time when I would say, hey, I bought dinner. Dinner cost $25. You need to give me $25.
Okay.
If you've ever spent any time with Miss Willis,
It's so funny that he would say that because she said something so similar in her testimony, in regards to this. Oh, well, let's say X happened and talking about dinner and you pay. It's just like it's almost as if they might have cross-referenced and gotten their story straight. It's very bizarre.
you understand that she's a very independent, proud woman.
I'd object. We're not.
So she's going to
Overruled, Mr. Wade.
So she's going to insist that she carries her own weight, and it actually was a point of contention between the two of us.
Oh, she's carrying her weight.
She is going to pay her own way.
So let me re-ask the question to make sure that you answer it. A California trip that you paid for, are you saying that she did not pay you back for cash? Instead, she paid for excursions and you believe that was roughly half?
She gave me some cash, yes. But what I'm saying is everything that we did when we got into Napa, she paid for.
The trip that she booked on her credit card in Miami, did you pay her cash back for your half of that?
No.
So you never paid her back for the ticket she bought for you?
No. I would say I did pay her back because there were times when I would pay for dinner.
Okay.
She would pay for dinner. It would balance out. But in a relationship, ma'am, you don't, particularly men, we don't go asking back for anything. So you're not keeping a ledger of things that you pay for versus the thing that she's paid for.
And therein lies the problem, sir. And therein lies your problem, okay? She should have never hired you. Hot take, Fannie Willis pimped out taxpayer funds to hire a male prostitute to be Trump's special prosecutor. What a love story. Very true. Very true. So yeah, you're a man, you don't ask for cash back, but yet somehow she's trying to allege that she gave you all of this cash, right? Like, it's just weird. How there's no traceable evidence of all of this repayment that happened, apparently, according to you both. But yet, you're also dancing around the fact that you, as a man, don't want to feel like you were having your hand out. And if you're dating and having sex with this woman, then yeah, you should be taking her out to trips and to dates and dinners and all this and that, and she shouldn't always be having to pay for half, right? In theory. But so which one is it? Because you're confused, and I think you're trying to confuse everyone else because it's ridiculous at this point. It really is. And now you want to act indignant on the stand and act like everyone else is out of line for asking questions that should have, in theory, never even had the chance to be asked. Because Fani Willis couldn't keep her legs together, partially because of the fupa that sits up there, but, mainly because apparently she couldn't resist your raisinette head.
When did he come to, I guess, the condo? I'm not sure what you called it, condo apartment. Would he come and stay at that condo or visit you there? I'm sorry, visit you there.
What condo, what apartment? I want to be clear.
So not your house. I know you classified one as house and one as condo, so I'm trying to use those terms.
So there's been more than, see, what you don't understand is because of this case, I got to move. And so I
Ms. Merchant, if you could ask a more precise question.
Yes, please, give me the time period.
Mr. Wade visited you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth, Judge. And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Willis? Mr. Sena, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
Let's go on and have the conversation.
I've just asked you whether or not it was a coincidence.
Had absolutely nothing to do with this. It's interesting that we're here about this money. Mr. Wade is used to women that, as he told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich.
Based? Hello?
Did you ever pay him anything other than cash?
I've only given him cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about.
So if we would go to dinner,
let her finish her answers.
If we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
You never wrote him a check?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay.
What is that?
Would you say you paid cash?
Ma'am, I don't have checks. Do I look like I have checks, girl? I don't have no damn checks. Bitch, yeah, you look like someone who should have checks, Miss District Attorney. Just ridiculous. So she tried to say that she was reimbursing her lover via just cash money. Cold, hard cash. American dollars, okay? And what was her explanation for why she has all this cash? Well, it was just as idiotic as anything else we've heard.
You asked me before is, when did the money go in there? What I am trying to tell you is, so I got divorced in 2005 from my husband. No, it's important. You said, where did the money come from? And I need to tell you where the money came from. And so for many, many years, I have kept money in my house. That money in my worst days has probably only been $500 or $1,000. At my best days, I probably had $15,000 in my house at cash. At all times, there's going to be cash in my house or wherever I'm laying my head.
The money that you paid Mr. Wade, the cash, in October of 2022, you do not know where that money came from?
I do know where it came from. It came from my sweat and tears.
Do you know which job it came from? Did it come from Fulton County or did it come from a private job?
It came from, what are you talking about? So it could have come from a private job because before I was DA, I was in private practice. So I earned money during that time period that's probably in there. It could have, what do you mean I don't know where it came from? I
understand the situation. You can move on.
Okay, thanks.
We would have brutal arguments about the fact that I am your equal. I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion. And so there was tension always in our relationship, which is why I would give him his money back. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy. But I always have cash at the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go. So I keep cash in my house, And I don't keep cash as good in my purse like I used to, because I don't go on many dates. But when you go on a date, you should have cash in your pocket.
So my question was, where did that cash originally come from? If it didn't come out of the bank?
Cash is fungible. I had cash for years in my house. So for me to tell you the source of when it comes from, when you go to Publix and you buy something, you get $50, you throw it in there. It's been my whole life. When I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you I just have cash in my house, I don't have as much today as I would normally have, but I'm building back up now. So you just put money in. It's a very good practice. I would advise it to all women. Yeah, I gave him his money before we ever went on that trip.
You gave him cash before you ever went on the trip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so when you got cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM?
No, lady.
You would not go to the ATM. And so
when your daughter moved or left the house that she owned, did she say anything to you about having a large savings of cash?
Oh, no, See, maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay? You know, I was trained, and most black folks, they hide cash or they keep cash, and I was trained. You always keep some cash, because I've been places, and just because of the color of my skin,
is cash. I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened is, no, we're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer. And then he tells me how much it is, and I give him the money back. I don't, just like you're asking me about the money with Robin, I don't do my friends like that. So if you tell me it's a G, then you're going to get $1,000. Whatever it is, I didn't ever make him produce receipts to me. Whatever he told me it was, I gave him the money back. Isn't it? And then he tells me,
If he told you it's a G, then you gonna get $1,000. If he told me it was $5, he got $5. Okay, girl. Well, absolutely whatever to you, ma'am. Fannie Willis on a random business trip. Yeah. She tried to say that, oh yeah, everyone carries large amounts of cash when they travel. Bitch, no, the fuck, they don't. Are you kidding? That's the last thing you should have with you when you're traveling, especially abroad, is cash. So what, you can be robbed of everything you got? Get the fuck out of here, dude. Just get the fuck out, please. What a ghetto piece of trash. Okay, and so her explanation for why she had all this cash was apparently because her father, okay, advised her that all women should carry a massive amounts of cash with them, okay? Which is not true. It's not even remotely an excuse. It's not even remotely a legitimate, valid explanation whatsoever.
You're seeing who you're governed by. I mean, this has been shocking today. Also, I think the judge, she's making speeches. Number one, as a prosecutor, I'm stunned that she doesn't know how to answer a question. As the War Room Engine Room has been following this all day, it's consistent. She thinks rules don't apply to herself. This has been the most damning afternoon of testimony, and I heard she just made the decision at the last moment. Her arrogance. I don't know. Mike Davis is watching this intensely, as many other people. We'll get him on later. The perjury, I don't know, the money laundering, the tax fraud between her and Wade. And I don't even think, to me, it's not even a matter. And I think the world has seen this about whether she keeps on the Trump case. The question is going to be, will she be terminated as Fulton County DA? Will she be disbarred? And will criminal charges be filed?
So there's like so much more, guys. You really have to go and see it for yourself to really understand the true nature and the true scope of what it is that Fannie and her raisinette lover are really trying to get across, and it's not coming across very well. And so just for a little flashback Friday, a better time in Fannie's life, let's take a look at this little video, shall we? And just see what her, how her takes have changed, how her opinions might have slightly been altered in these recent developments.
Because they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees.
Oh,
because
no.
they deserve a DA that won't put money in their own pocket
Oh, my
when
God.
it should go to benefit children. Because we
right.
deserve better.
Oh,
Because
really, girl? Oh, sex, you say? Okay. Huh. Weird. Okay. Well, you kind of just said fuck that, didn't you? I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna spread this legs, this fupa. I'm gonna lift it up, and Nathan Wade's gonna just drive it on home. You're disgusting, ma'am. You are truly a disgusting person, and you're corrupt, and you gotta go. You gotta go. Fanny, you gotta go. So what do you guys think? Are you guys filled with as much secondhand embarrassment as I currently have? Let me know in the comments what you think of this whole situation and whether or not you think that Trump is going to get this case thrown out, or if you think that the charges should stick, if you think the charges should have been filed, if you think that Fanny looks good with her fupa out. Whatever you think about this video, let me know in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this. Like the video. Do all of the things, please. I would appreciate it. And guys, until next time, I will see y'all later. Bye.
I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.